Hey guys, this is Red. We're back and we're going to talk about Sony E3 2015 predictions. And this is Killatia.
Killatia, yes.
Butchering your name a lot.
It's okay. Nobody gets his right the first couple of times.
It does literally look like Killatia, but okay, let's get started on the top.
Yeah, back to Sony, everybody.
So at the beginning of the conference, these are my two predictions. Actually, it could be three different things. They could either start off the conference strong with Uncharted 4 gameplay trailer or footage, or they even could go for the classic Sony montage, which they usually do that a lot. And then after that montage, they could go straight into Uncharted 4 or show something brand new with either God of War 4, which someone already confirmed it on Twitter from over at on their end that a new God of War or something God of War related is coming out. But they didn't say anything after that. They actually took the tweets down too. So
Yeah.
And then it could even be The Last Guardian, which I think they're either going to end the show with Last Guardian or God of War 4 is how I think they're going to end the show. So it could either be a combination of starting off that way.
Yeah, like, Sony really needs to do something with The Last Guardian because, like, they've been talking about it for, like, the last few years now. Like, back when it
They
was, like,
even lost the license to it,
Yeah,
and then I
like-
guess they just renewed it. That's
Yeah,
how
and,
long
like-
it's been.
like, they literally lost the trademark and had to, like, pay back for it. Like, seriously, Sony, like, I understand that game development can be long, but I think it's about time you actually, give us solid information and a solid release date because, like, I don't think there's much I don't think there's much left fandom for The Last Guardians at this point.
There are so many people that want this game to come out or be
Yeah.
like something shown for it. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy 15, how it was in limbo for a while,
Yeah.
and like people were like, "When's it coming out?" Square Enix.
Yeah.
It's like the exact same amount of time too
Yeah.
that it's taking to get done.
Well, at least Square Enix was kind enough to at least release a demo of Final Fantasy 15.
Finally, yeah,
Yeah, like-
after like 10 years.
Yes, I don't know what the heck Sony's gonna do with The Last Guardian. So
They said it's not dead, so
Well, it's not
hopefully
dead,
they come
but-
out with it this year. Like everyone predicts that this is the year at E3 that's gonna be shown off again.
Yeah.
Nope. It's probably gonna most likely be a PS4 exclusive though. I don't see it being a PS3 on
Yeah.
PS3 anymore, and I think they probably switched development onto the PS4.
yeah, like the PS3, it's like almost 10 years old now. Like, I think it's about time to at least let it, like, die off for now. Like, after they release the Tell games, of course.
And another big game that I think will be shown off is Guerrilla Games. They need some Guerrilla Games next RPG, codename Horizon, because they need a lot of big games at E3 this year. They don't have anything set up for the fall except for No Man's Sky and maybe Tearaway. I have no idea if Tearaway is coming out this year. And that's pretty much it. They don't have anything big. So they're going to have to rely on something, which this could come out this year. This could be something for next year. But I think they're going to start showing off some from Guerrilla. And I hope they finally just put Killzone to rest and do something new. We saw pictures of the robotic dinosaur-looking things and the redheaded person that leaked images. There was a redheaded protagonist girl, and everything looked beautiful. And that was like a year or two ago. So hopefully they show that off finally.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully they'll show something because it does sound like a good game.
And an RPG instead of just like a first-person shooter or sounds completely new and fresh for Guerrilla.
Yeah, and not to mention that, there's already like a ton of competition, at least in the American market, for like FPS. Like, it'd be fine to at least branch off into like different genres like every now and then.
I think if we don't like hear a lot of details about it, we'll at least see some type of teaser or something for that game.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And another game company that supposedly has two projects going on is Sony Ben. And these are the guys responsible for the Siphon filter series. And one thing about that is they've never really failed at Siphon Filter. The games always seem to be good. Like they're not usually bad games. So we could see a brand new one, but I'm afraid it's kind of a little old of a franchise for a lot of people to be getting back on that. So I think it's going to be at least one new franchise from them, one new IP.
Yeah, it may be old, but there's still
There's
a
still
fan base
there's still a
around it.
fan base for
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
so I think it'll sell decently if they
Yeah.
did do another
If
sip
they
on
did.
filter.
yeah. And then another game that I was really excited about because in the Hellblade trailer last year, the character looked a lot like Kai from Heavenly Sword, which you can tell they got a lot of inspiration from that game into the character, but it's not her. I would really love to see more of that. I believe that's even an indie title. That's not even like a big it's not made like a big AAA title or anything, but it could turn out to be really good.
Yeah.
That could be a spiritual successor to Heavenly Sword. And
I haven't played Heavenly Sword, but I heard good things about it, and I know a lot of people will love to see a sequel to that game.
that was my favorite, first year that the PlayStation 4 that I got it.
You mean PlayStation 3?
That was one of my favorite, PlayStation 3, yeah. That was my favorite game when it first came out. That, Resistance, and Uncharted. But, yeah, that was really, really fun. And it's a long shot, but I would love to see a sequel to Heavenly Sword. Why the heck would they they made a movie on it, which pretty much, they redid the story, too. And they had some different actors in it. It wasn't as good as the game, but why would you even have that come out if you're not going to do anything with the franchise?
Yeah.
I hope they do something with that franchise.
I'm sure they will. There's only so much you could hold on to a franchise without risking the chance of losing it because with the way copyright laws are made, if you don't do anything with it, you risk the chance of losing it for good.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, why do you think that
The reason why I believe they didn't get anything done though for a while for this game is because Ninja Theory and them had a lot of complications.
Yeah.
So then they kind of split off. They were in good relations. Then Heavenly Sword came out, and then I don't know what happened exactly, but then they kind of split off, and then that's what's taken so long with that game. If it will get a sequel. Because I think it's completely Sony now that has to work on it if they're going to do anything with that game.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because something happened, and then I know that Ninja Theory, they just didn't want to work with Sony for a while on that. They just wanted to do their own thing. So we could have had, Enslaved, we could have had a lot of, good games that were just Sony exclusives if they would have just got along.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank remake, that's definitely going to be there.
Yeah,
at E3.
definitely. They make a big deal about at last year's E3, especially with the movie that was announced as well. So I'm sure they're going to even talk even more about it this year, considering that it was supposed to be released this year.
Yeah, they said that it's going to be coming out next year, and I'm pretty sure that's to go along with the movie, because the movie's going to get released next year. So you'll probably see it sometime next year, close to when the movie comes out. Same thing with Star Wars this year. And that's another game I think that might get shown at Sony's conference, because I think they're the main person that's showing up. PlayStation 4 on Battlefront, I think, is what's showing up on there. So I think Sony got some type of exclusive rights to advertising.
Yeah, a similar deal with Destiny, I would assume.
Yeah, and that's coming out the exact same time, around when the new movie for Star Wars is coming out. So that one's going to be a big hit, and that definitely probably will have some gameplay at Sony's movie.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope the Ratchet and Clank movie will actually be good. Instead
I think it could be pretty funny as long as they keep it within the same lines as the game, because you got Quark. He always makes me laugh. Him and and Ratchet and Clank, Ratchet always has some funny lines. So hopefully,
definitely,
if they keep it the same and not change a lot of stuff up.
Yeah. It'll be a nice change of pace from the poor video game movies we have to be dealing with for like nearly 2 decades now.
And it'd be nice to like finally take my nephews to a kids movie that's based on a game that's actually good. There's a lot of games that are like game movies that aren't like based on like more towards children, and yeah, they're not really cartoony at all.
Yeah.
And usually they're not very good. There is that one with Adam Sandler that
Yep.
actually looks pretty good. That
Oh,
Pixel.
you mean Pixels?
Yeah, I think it looks good. Just from the trailer, it looked good.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the plot's gonna be. It's gonna be a wacky plot.
Yeah. I don't know. This summer, Adam Sandler fights Pac-Man and Donkey Kong with just 1 quarter.
And then Pac-Man bites the person that made him. He bites his hand.
Bites his hand and becomes
Then
the
he's
Whale
just like,
Pack.
kill him. Yeah, another game. I could see Rockstar releasing something at Sony's conference. I always say this every year because at one time, Agent, that was supposed to be a PS3 exclusive. Never seen anything since that E3 conference. That was the same E3, I think. Final Fantasy Versus 13 was announced. There was all kinds of big exclusives that didn't see the light of day for a while. I think we could see Agent, or we could see like another franchise. I know Red Dead Redemption's supposedly supposed to get a sequel. Maybe that'll be shown off.
Yeah, I think out of all the games you mentioned, I think Red Dead Redemption would have like the biggest shot to be at Sony's.
Yeah, and even maybe Bully too. Like I know a lot of people want a new Bully game, but I don't know if it's gonna come out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe, but you know, it's a good game, but I don't think it's good enough for a sequel.
Yeah,
That's just my opinion.
I think there could
though.
be a lot of controversy with that, but Rockstar loves controversy.
Yeah, like the only time they weren't controversial was when they did like a tennis, like not even tennis, like a ping pong game simulation. Like I don't even remember the name of it. That's how uncontroversial it was.
And again with Silent Hills, I have this on the list because I still think it's going to eventually come back. There is a petition online. Last time I looked at it, it had 120,000, and I signed the petition. Out of 160,000 total, that's what it needs to get sent to Konami to get released on the PS4. And even Darryl Reedus, is that his name?
I don't know.
Norman Reedus. I got his character's name mixed up with his real name. Yeah, Norman Reedus, Daryl from The Walking Dead. He signed the petition, and that Del Toro, he signed the petition too. So, my friend said that, I think it was Dark Souls, or one of those games had a petition out to come to the PC. And after the petition got signed, eventually it did come out on PC. So,
Yeah.
Konami should look at this, and it would be a big surprise if that would randomly be like, hey, it's not canceled. That would be a big, like, announcement at E3.
Yeah, I mean, like, petitions can be good and such, like, but for everyone's success story, so, like, 100 failures, so, you know, I'm kind of
I really hope it's not dead.
Yeah, like...
I hope they don't do some stupid Silent Hill game like Downpour.
Oh, like...
You never know.
You never know with Konami these days, like, one minute they were on the top of the world, and the next... They're
Same
on
with
the
Castlevania. They screwed
the
Castlevania series up too. No one really likes the new ones that they keep doing to those.
Yeah.
And they don't really have too much going for them now.
No, like the only thing
Silent
they
Hills was the big one, and they
like
just,
other than like Metal Gear Solid 5, like
which that could see some. I could see some gameplay at Sony's conference for that. Because
Yeah,
Metal Gear's always been a PlayStation.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being at Sony press conference too. Like,
Yeah.
but after that
Kojima
game,
kind of
Yeah.
got kicked out of Konami and stuff.
yeah,
Maybe not, because he was always the one to show something at Sony's conferences.
yeah.
So, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, nobody knows what the heck's going on with Konami these days. Like, they're either going to be a mobile company or like a gambling company these days. Like,
That's the wrong direction.
Yeah. Hmm.
uh, next big exclusive, I think this one's a definite yes for gameplay. Street Fighter V,
Oh yeah.
either at E3 or the European one, Gamescom. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be at one of the two.
Yeah.
Street Fighter V is a PlayStation 4 exclusive. It's not coming out on Xbox One
But it is
ever.
coming out on the PC
It is coming out on PC, but it is never coming out on Xbox One. So that's
until
really, they cleared that out. They
yeah,
did
until
clear that up.
Capcom decided they want to do a super version and then
Yeah.
an ultra arcade 4K edition.
I wonder how much, if Sony even paid them a lot of money for that, or I
Well,
don't know what happened. But
well,
yeah.
I know they're not as rich as Microsoft, but they have to have some money in the bank to even scroll some exclusivity to Street Fighter V.
I think Capcom kind of owes Sony for the PS2 era. There was a lot of games that sold really well, and Capcom made a lot of money off of them from the PlayStation 2 era. But yeah, they might have paid a good bit of money on that.
Yeah.
Another series of games, either both or one or the other. I think Square Enix is going to show off Kingdom Hearts 3, since we haven't seen anything for a while for Kingdom Hearts 3, and or Final Fantasy 15.
I think it's gonna be not Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts 3, because I think I read in another news article that they're gonna be showcasing 15 at the Gamecom in Europe and not at this year's E3.
So
But-
yeah, they're going to have something at least one of the two at this E3. That
Either that or
Kingdom
Star
Hearts 3
Ocean
though
5.
has not gotten a lot of press as much as Final Fantasy 15, and I think they're going to be a lot further in development on that game finally.
Yeah.
And either that, or it probably will definitely be shown off at TGS, since it is a Japanese company, and usually they're the ones that show off there.
Yeah.
There was also another game announcement, Star Ocean 5 this year.
Yeah, I was trying to actually talk about that too.
It's called Integrity and Faithlessness. This is a long title. Faithlessness.
Yeah, I heard longer.
Did you want to talk about that at all, or no?
Not really. I was just throwing out what they could show.
I think they could show
Sony's.
that off, but it's more likely that it'll show off at TGS.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing a worldwide release at the same time, then it will probably be shown off at either E3 or Gamescom.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky is definitely going to be there because that's literally their big exclusive. Even though it's not a AAA game, it's an indie developer. That game's going to be shown off a lot.
Yeah, but what I saw, it's like not just a randomly generated world, but also like a randomly generated universe as well. So that's a very
Reminds me of
interesting
games
concept.
like Flower, yeah.
It's going to be an interesting concept to be sure.
Because a lot of those games win Game of the Year too, surprisingly. Like
Yeah.
Flower won, I think, Game of the Year at some places. There was another game I can't remember, but Unfinished Swan was another game that had some success there on PlayStation, and that's like another one of them type of games. Tearaway Unfolded. I don't know if that's going to come out this year or next year. I think it should come out this year because they don't have a big fall lineup. And basically, I think it's like a remake or it's
like either
like a remake plus more content.
Yeah,
So
like
it's
so like a semi sequel.
yeah,
you
it's
could
the
say.
Vita version.
Yeah.
And another surprise announcement, which I've seen some of this a long time ago, Gravity Rush 2 coming to the PlayStation 4. I've seen a lot about that at one time. Don't remember the rumors on it, but that could be something that shows up.
Yeah, I mean, Gravity Rush was probably one of the better games on the PlayStation Vita, so I could see Sony wanting to make that game into a franchise.
Exactly, yeah. It looked really good. I haven't played it yet, but it's one of the games that's supposedly one of the best Vita games.
Yeah.
Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection, do you think they're going to have like a lot of details on that? Or do you think it's just going to be like, we'll mention it and we're going to talk about it a little bit? Or
Well, I'm sure they'll at the very least mention it. Like, I'm not personally
I know they're going to mention
Yeah. Well, I'm not personally interested in it because I heard that they're not going to have any like multiplayers for the second and third game.
What they're gonna have is, I do like this at least. They're giving you Uncharted 4 beta, which is the multiplayer beta, which they had for Uncharted 3. They had a multiplayer beta. Uncharted 2, they had a multiplayer beta. I believe Uncharted 3 had 3 different ones. They had a Subway one, a pre-order if you bought Infamous 1 or 2. I think it was 1. Infamous 1. Yeah. It was a long time ago. Yeah. And there was like a third beta or something if you pre-ordered it. Yeah, so they had a lot of betas for the Uncharted 3, so I think this is a good way to get hype going. And I don't necessarily agree that like they're like, oh, it'll affect our install base. Like they said in the comments that we don't want to affect our something about that in the Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 multiplayers. But Uncharted 2 multiplayer is pretty much dead. I would love for it to get revived.
Yeah, like I just find it so odd that they would like remove one of the best features for the later games out for this collection, because what I understand, like these HD remasterings are supposed to be the definitive version. But if you don't have like every feature, like how can you call it the definitive version?
Yeah, the only thing I think they changed up was 60 frames per second and probably still 1080p. Yeah, like and the multiplayer beta, which that's why I'm going to be buying it. Like I'll be buying it. I might play the collections again, but I beat them a lot, so yeah. And I'm sure there's going to be more HD collections revealed. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they'll announce. They got a lot of games.
Yeah. Like people like to complain like a lot about Nintendo releasing the same games over and over again, but here's Sony like basically like
I think Sony kind of started it with Last of Us, and then everyone saw that and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna release it." And Square Enix did a lot of that too. A lot of companies.
Yeah, so. Like Square Enix is kind of like ridiculous.
Sony kind of like started it off for everyone.
Yeah, like, hey, let's do a remaster of an already remastered game.
Like, look at Saints Row 4. Yeah. That one didn't even perform much better than the original, and it's like that. It didn't look any better, so it's like, and they didn't let you transfer your character from your game version on the PS3 to the PS4. But apparently they took it out a long time ago. It's like, why would you take out such a nice feature? You could take your character from Saints Row 3, transfer it to Saints Row 4, and then why couldn't you transfer your character from Saints Row 4 to the better version? And that's what really turned me off of that game.
Who knows? Like, I mean, I don't think HD collections are bad. It's just like everybody does, but when everybody's doing it like almost on a regular basis, they're just lost their spark. You know what I mean?
I think they all do it just to get a little bit of extra money from the game, and plus some people that didn't have the game on the PS3 or Xbox, they'll have it on the new console.
I guess.
So here's some of the secret unveilings I think that they might have, other than just what we were talking about. Gran Turismo 7. I think they need a big racing game to come out on the PS4. They haven't had anything. Drive Club was out, but I heard the multiplayer, like I even tried to play the multiplayer on my friend's share play. Couldn't do it at all. Like he even had trouble with it when it first came out. Yeah, there's a lot of trouble with Drive Club, and there's nothing at all really on the PlayStation 4. You have Forza 6 coming out, so it is possible that it could come out this year. We don't know anything. We do know Gran Turismo will come out eventually, but I think there should be something for that to compete with Forza.
Yeah, Gran Turismo, like one of Sony's big franchises, so I'm sure they'll at the very least, mention it at E3.
And they did say they were working on new servers or something for they're updating the servers for Drive Club to make room for the PlayStation Plus version, because I guess they're expecting a lot of people to download it. So it is coming. They might re-announce that. Maybe that's coming in July or August, because we already know the June lineup and it's not there. But we know a PlayStation Plus version is in the works still. Yeah,
and considering they're going to be like a free version, you're going to expect a lot of people downloading that for sure.
Which I already bought it for $20, so it was pretty cheap.
Hey, $20, that's not a bad price. Yeah, that's not a bad price for a racing game.
Yeah. The Last of Us 2 and God of War 4, which maybe this year, maybe next year, Last of Us 2 will get announced. I don't know. Naughty Dog has two different. I think they have two different teams right now. They have one that's, I believe, working on The Last of Us 2, and Uncharted 4 is the one that the other one's working on right now.
Yeah, I think God of War 4 has a better chance of being announced at this year's E3 instead of The Last of Us.
It depends if all the stuff that's getting announced, like that we're talking about, gets announced, like all this stuff. Yeah, I don't see The Last of Us could be something big for next year's.
Yeah.
Or even at Gamescom. I do think Last of Us 2 is coming out though eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah. New RPGs. Dark Souls 3, I think, could be at Sony's. I believe Dark Souls series are kind of not exclusive. They're on all platforms.
Yeah, pretty much all platforms that are not made by Nintendo.
There was a rumor about it. And then Rooster Teeth, they kind of reported all kinds of information. Yeah. They reported that it has 1 to 4 player co-op.
Will co-op or those like potato co-ops in the previous game?
It just says we'll support 1 to 4 players. So I'm guessing that's co-op. They don't know how it's gonna. They don't say anything really how it's gonna work. But players will choose one of 10 classes, all available from the start. There's 45 new enemies, 15 new bosses, and over 100 new weapons and 40 new armor types at your disposal. That's a lot. Like, yeah, it sounds like this is like all legit. Like, and Rooster Teeth said there's going to be something at E3. I think if anyone should show it off, I think it should be Sony because Bloodborne was such a big hit on the console. And we're probably going to see Bloodborne DLC, most likely.
Yeah, most definitely DLC talks for that game.
And Dragon Quest Heroes, I think will either be there or at Gamescom. Because Dragon Quest Heroes is coming out in October this year in the US. Mm-hmm. And at EGS, you'll probably see Dragon Quest Heroes 2. Because that one's already... The second one's already planning on coming out, so... On Japan. So that one will probably come out. EGS.
Hey, do you like the first game? Because the second one's coming out 2 months from now.
Oh, in Japan. So we'll probably have like a half a year to a year until it comes out in North America for the second one. But
I'm not
like it's the team that made
the Dynasty
Warriors. It's kind of like the Zelda thing they had, the Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
For the Wii U, except it's Dragon Quest.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that it sold pretty well in Japan because like they're big into Dynasty Warriors and they're even bigger into Dragon Quest to the point where where everybody was calling off sick just to get in line.
It's like Square Enix has finally figured out some of the stuff that fans want. New RPGs. They even have Deus Ex. They have Star Ocean. They have this game is I don't really know if it's RPGs and a hack and slash at the same time or if it's just a hack and slash. But they got that and they're showing so much stuff for Final Fantasy and they got Kingdom Hearts 3 coming maybe, I don't know, at the end of this generation. But they got all kinds of stuff going on. New Tomb Raiders and they got Square Enix has got it going on.
Yeah. I think a lot more than Konami.
Yeah. Persona 5, I think this is a E3. This is the big JRPG that's finally deserves. Like Persona 4 was so big on PS2.
Yeah.
And it even got a Vita version. It even came out on PS3 for just the game came out on PS3. Like you could play it again.
Yeah. I think that was just a. I think
Persona
that was just
5
a PS2
should show up. Maybe.
Yeah, Persona 5 should,
it's coming out at the end
that
this year.
Every other Persona game came out for E3
the
past 3 years.
Yeah, Persona 5 is a big game in Japan, but I think it's going to be even bigger here. It's coming out in 2015 is what they said, so I think we should see something from Atlas.
Yeah, the one RPG that I am looking forward to is Tales of Zestiria. I hope I pronounced it. Zestiria, like... I love the Tales games. Like
that's supposed to be coming out this year.
Yeah, for the PS3. I love the Tales.
PS3, but I got a strong feeling that it would do better on PS4.
Yeah, but they announced it for PS3, not for PS4. But who
I
knows?
could
Maybe
see it being, yeah, it'd probably be an easy one to convert over.
yeah,
They're not like the best looking of games. Like they're a lot. It's like anime, so it's not
yeah,
like it's. I don't think it'd be too hard to
yeah.
convert it over.
No,
Like
it
maybe
shouldn't
have
be
it on
too hard.
both. There was a Best Buy leak that actually had it pre-ordered for $60 on PS4, and then they took it down really quickly. It's like, what? I can't pre-order it. I wanted to pre-order it, and it's like they took it down. So it's probably going to come out on PS4. It's just like that Xbox leak with that bundle, the 1 TB bundle.
Yeah, maybe. Like,
Level 5 also has a new project going on. It could be a Ni no Kuni 2. That did really well in North America, surprisingly.
yeah, yeah, like, yeah, it definitely did good in America because like everybody's been raving about it, even to this day.
And it did good worldwide. That was a surprise hit that actually sold pretty good.
Yeah, so yeah, I
Or it
do.
could be something completely new. They had White Knight Chronicles. I love that game, but it didn't get a lot of love.
Yeah,
Ni no Kuni 2, though, since Ni no Kuni 1 did so good, that's probably why it would get released, if anything.
yeah, like if any RPG deserves a sequel, it's definitely Ninyo Kunio. And
Yeah,
I probably
it's a weird
mispronounced the name.
Yeah. There's there's supposedly Sony Japan's supposed to be having a big exclusive JRPG coming out, and no one knows what it is. So there it could be a new Legend. What was that game?
Dark Souls? I mean, not Dark Souls.
What was it? Legend of Dragoon. Wasn't that a Sony?
Oh
Japan
yeah,
game?
yeah. It's like a
A lot of people. There's a lot of people speculating. There's so many different like old classics that they could
Yeah.
bring over. There's another. Someone else like said Dark Cloud would be a great game to bring. I don't know if that was Sony Japan, but that was another old classic PlayStation game
Yeah,
that they could bring
PlayStation 2,
over.
actually.
Yeah, there's another game from PlayStation, Sony that could be awesome if they just brought
Yeah,
another.
Jade. I think Jade Cocoon was another Sony RPG, which was basically like Final Fantasy meets Pokemon.
But yeah, there's supposed to be something big that could just be announced in TGS. So you don't know. TGS is probably going to be pretty big this year.
Yeah, like especially for the Japanese companies.
Yeah, Japanese companies are going to have a lot. Sony tends to kind of separate. They'll have something at E3, a lot at E3, some at TGS, which TGS is probably going to have a lot this year, and a lot at Gamescom. They've been having a lot at all three, so we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be maybe a mini montage on indie games, most likely. Or in third parties. Maybe some new MMOs. Probably a little mixture of all of them. Project Morpheus, I think, it's gonna be shown off.
Yeah, it was shown
This
up
is
like
the year.
last year's, so
This is the year, though, for them to show it off.
yeah, especially with like Oculus Rift being released and Valve doing their VR stuff. Even Google has their own like VR
It'd be
stuff.
nice
as
to
well.
see Valve get their own little press conference, but
Yeah, but they're not.
they
They're
don't
not.
want to.
No, they're not even going to be at E3 this
Yeah,
year.
they are having their consoles coming out this year. Well, not really consoles. They're
Like-
kind of like computers, pretty
Yeah,
much.
they're like
console
They're basically computer with their own, like computers without Windows.
Yeah, basically that can connect straight to your TV. You can play
Yeah.
it, no problem. But the streaming consoles, they look pretty good too.
Yeah.
What is it, $50 to play your? It's just basically like the PlayStation TV.
Like
It
a
connects to
PlayStation.
it connects to your computer, and you can play all your content.
Yeah, like a PlayStation TV, but with even less features.
But it has more content. So
Well, depending on how much
there's a
spent
lot
on
of
the
Steam
Steam
games.
stores.
So
Yeah.
I think there's over 3,700. So yeah.
Like, I lost count on how many games are on
Yeah.
Steam.
And I believe there's going to be a couple price drops. PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 both should have price drops by now.
Yeah, there's
If
definitely
the
going to
Xbox is about to be, if it could get down to $299, the Xbox 360 should definitely have a price drop. It should be under 200 by now for the 250 gig. PlayStation 3 should definitely have a price drop. I think by this time they should already have it down to like 150, but they're keeping their prices stingy. Like they're trying to make as much money as they can before it dies. Maybe it'll give it some new life with a new price drop because they didn't even hit $100 yet. In the Wii and the PlayStation 2, when they hit 100, they were way before this time in their life.
Yeah.
And
yes.
yeah,
Yeah, the 360 and PS3, considering that they're just about dead, needs a price drop badly.
yeah, they're not really selling much, and I think a price drop could help them sell a lot more.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even hit 100 million consoles yet, and they haven't even gotten it down at all. So like down to $100, like I think it will really sell over 100 million for both consoles. The Vita, I believe that will definitely get a price drop down to $89, like the rumor. It's actually probably possible. This might be like Sony. This might be like their last leg on trying to get people to buy it.
Yeah, like
it's on it. It is already on its last legs.
Yeah,
it has to get a price drop.
Yeah, Sony needs to do something with the Vita because they're like other than a few Japanese niche games, there's not really a whole lot of compelling
in Japan,
software.
Yeah, it doesn't like in Japan. It does okay. It does just as good as the consoles. So in Japan, it's fine. It's just over in North America and Europe, it needs a price drop, and because it was marketed towards like the hardcore audience and stuff, but it's kind of a little too late. If this thing like released like not in 2011, maybe a couple years before 2011, I think it would have done fine because it is an amazing system and it has great graphics and it has a lot of games like JRPGs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean the Vita is good, but the thing is like, at least in my opinion, like Sony just doesn't know how to market their handhelds.
No idea how to market the thing.
Yeah. Like they
even
think,
like the hardcore games, like you had Killzone and Uncharted, which were great games, but nothing really else. And it's looking like the market doesn't really want hardcore games on the go. They want to be at home when they do that. Yeah. That's what it looks like to me. But they do need some big exclusives like for it, like that are AAA. Like BioShock was supposed to come out on it. Resident Evil was supposed to come out. Revelations 2 is supposed to come out. Haven't seen that ever come out yet. Maybe they'll show something. Maybe they'll show like a little montage for Vita games that come out. Maybe Revelations 2 will be up there. But there's not a whole lot except for a lot of Japanese games that I like, but not everyone likes them. They're niche games.
Yeah.
Media Molecule, they're supposed to have a new game, a new IP come out.
You mean a game that's not Little Big Planet? You jest.
They're supposed to, but I don't see. I think Little Big Planet, it's kind of dead. It's lost its advertising now. Luster. I don't know what to say. It's just lost its mojo. It started off real good. Little Big Planet 2 was pretty decent in sales. Little Big Planet 3, and no one really cares for it too much anymore. You can only do so much, and they need something new.
Yeah.
And I think that Media Molecule would be a perfect candidate for the Project Morpheus, a game on that.
Hopefully.
Because they're very innovative.
Yes, they are.
Quantic Dreams is another one that hasn't shown. They showed the Sorcerer game, that one, and they showed it a couple years ago, and then they showed another where it was like a comedy, and it was like they're on set or something. It was
odd.
Yeah, I liked the graphics on it. It looked amazing, but I don't know if like they never really said if that's a real game. That would be neat if it was, and maybe it wasn't like a comedy thing. I wouldn't mind seeing like an RPG if they could do it like right. Their games usually have good stories, so I could see an RPG coming from them, but a comedy would be kind of weird. Yeah. And last thing that I have on my list is Until Dawn. That comes out sometime this summer. I definitely think they'll show something off for that. Last year they showed a little trailer, gameplay demo actually, where it's like any one of your characters could die off. If you die, their characters they're out of the game. So yeah, it's kind of like that summer horror type of where it's cabin in the woods, teen horror. But yeah, it looked pretty good because like you always complain about like, man, if I was her, I would do something I would like do something totally different. So this time you're in the game, you're the victim, and you get to see how you would actually react in that. So it looked neat to me. Is there anything else you would like to see from Sony, or that's the long list?
Yeah, that's the long list. Like,
yeah,
definitely the longest. Definitely the longest.
Any of these items are possible.
Yeah.
At the Sony conference.
Yeah.
Or split into Gamescom and TGS.
Yeah, like who knows what's gonna be at Sony's, Microsoft or Nintendo. All we can do is just like, speculate.
So guys, thank you for watching. We're gonna see you in the Nintendo E3 prediction.
Yeah, catch you guys in a few seconds.